Picture a booming business, millions in monthly revenue, a packed warehouse, a busy team. But when December arrives and the ledgers are balanced, the bank account is completely dry, forcing founders to take out loans to cover holiday bonuses. This is a psychological trap called the sales illusion. Founders see money moving through the accounts and assume the business is healthy. You must plug the leaks in your cost structure. Without that, those massive fixed costs act as a deadweight that will drag the entire company underwater. Customer moods shift. Economic climates cool down. The hard reality is that top-line sales are never entirely in your control. But your costs? You have 100% authority over exactly where every dollar goes. Which brings us to the final deciding factor of the business model canvas. After designing how you create value and find customers, the survival of the entire operation rests on this bottom layer, your cost structure. Building a resilient cost structure doesn't mean turning off the office air conditioning to save pennies. It requires surgically separating the expenses that build organizational muscle from the ones that only add fat, ensuring your business can survive even if revenue suddenly drops. To see how this mechanical separation works, look at this financial chart. This heavy, flat line represents your fixed costs. These are the unforgiving expenses, like factory rent or machine depreciation, that demand payment whether you sell 10,000 units this month or absolutely zero. Then you have variable costs. These are agile expenses, like raw materials, shipping fees, and sales commissions. If production stops, these costs drop to zero right alongside it. The objective of modern financial architecture is to convert rigid fixed burdens into flexible variable expenses. When you rent server space on the cloud instead of buying heavy hardware, your break-even point drops. You need far fewer sales just to keep the business alive, but your cost structure must strictly align with what you are selling. A cost-driven business, like a massive discount retailer, relies on economies of scale and ruthlessly shaves overhead to offer the lowest possible price. A value-driven business, like a luxury watchmaker, ignores economy to guarantee premium quality and VIP service. The fastest way to kill a company is to get caught in the middle, trying to sell budget-priced goods to price-sensitive customers while paying for premium retail space and bloated operational overhead. Consider a B2B furniture manufacturer that faced a severe liquidity crisis. They had strong sales volume and massive industrial output, but virtually no available cash. Leadership was operating on an outdated mass production mindset. They believed that to get the best value out of their equipment, the machines had to run constantly to drive down the cost per unit. This approach meant millions of dollars in raw capital were transformed into unneeded inventory, left to sit dead on shelves. This overproduction then forced the company to rent massive external warehouses and pay extra labor just to move the excess product around. The solution required lean consultants to completely halt the mass production lines. Instead, they instituted a pull system, meaning a product was only manufactured when an actual customer order came in. The results materialized fast. As the backlog of inventory was finally sold off, the factory no longer needed that external warehouse. They canceled the lease, instantly erasing a massive fixed cost. They renegotiated with suppliers, setting up agreements for twice-weekly, just-in-time deliveries. They pushed the financial burden of storing wood back onto the supplier. Within 6 months, the factory's cash flow turned Hevelin Pavlidis. By stripping away rigid holding costs and adopting agile logistics, their break-even point dropped so low that the company remained highly profitable even during the slow season. Securing your margins is not an administrative task for the accounting department. It is the strategic responsibility of leadership. Every dollar of structural waste you eliminate becomes a dollar of pure net profit. So audit your own ledger. Are your expenses actively funding growth, like research and development, or are you just subsidizing waste, like paying constant overtime because your internal processes are broken? Look at the ratio of your fixed costs to your overall revenue. If that rigid baseline is dangerously high, find ways to outsource those functions or move physical assets into the cloud. And before buying any new asset, look at your existing network. See if you can share overhead or utilize a partner's sales channels to generate an economy of scale. With your cost structure locked in, all 9 building blocks of the business model canvas are now complete. You have designed an engine optimized to capture value and generate profit. But a perfect model on a whiteboard is still just a hypothesis. It doesn't mean anything until it survives contact with real customers. Next time we enter phase 2, we will take this theoretical canvas and test it in the brutal reality of the open market.